Ready. Hit it. How close was that?
That was pretty good.
Pretty good?
It gave me a little started tensing up there.
Man,
look at this.
Look at this.
Whoa.
Live on a Tuesday.
And we got names
Chiron.
now.
That's Chiron.
Yeah.
Got Chiron graphics. Ready to go here, brother.
A little Chiron.
Yeah.
If it goes all the way across, then it's a lower third.
Yeah. Well, Chiron is what you use to put graphics. Use a Chiron to put graphics, any graphic on the thing.
Okay.
A lower third means it's the bottom third of the screen.
Yeah, lower thirds are typically less than a third of the screen.
You have a full screen, but it's located in the lower third portion.
Yes.
So full screen, lower third, and then what is
the side one?
Banner is the one that's up top as a banner.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's old school.
Sidebar.
Old school producing.
Oh, yeah.
Old school television kids.
Yeah,
how you living?
They'd be like, all right, lower thirds up.
Lower thirds
Ready. Hit it.
I like that.
By the way, they are buzzing around downtown right now. The whole
are.
Blue Angel team is here. Shows again Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Jordan's going. I was able to last night watch the full, it's like 50-something minutes from the time that I'm in and hooked up.
Yeah.
Through the whole, it was unreal. My kids got a kick out of it. It was
awesome.
Very fun.
Very good.
So you'll see him if you're in downtown Cleveland. You're gonna see him.
Did we ever get a Pantone?
No, they wouldn't.
They're not going to divulge.
They talked about that in a very guarded way, I would say.
Similar to our head coach and general manager when they address the assembled media.
That's
a very
right.
Guarded way.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
what you're going to get. We've got some news here, buddy. Quite a bit busy morning this morning for us. The Browns are wrapped up practice. The practice week, mandatory weekend off starts now. So next up will be game week. That will start on Monday. I believe we had that with the roster. I should say I believe you had it. It's
we were
actually
53 for 53 now.
for 53 now because we had
And
the team. We have released Hundley. He's out, and then Foreman comes back in. He has re-signed, and Tyler Snoop Huntley's contract has been terminated. So when we did that, if you pay attention to the scores, you don't even have to pay attention to the scores. You just listen. The actual 53 was given to you by Dr. Z on Tuesday.
that's right.
Tuesday.
And I'm not going to go out there and, Barry Horowitz self-high five for giving
Why?
myself a pat on the back.
Ball's not going to spike
I'm not going
itself.
to toot my own horn, toot.
But ball's not going to spike itself, brother.
It was pretty. I felt like you knew how it was going to go. You had a good idea as to how it was going to go, and that's how it went. The one change, we knew it was kind of Javion Cohen or it was going to be Michael Dunn. Michael Dunn hurt, so it was Javion Cohen, and then the 4 quarterbacks trying to buy time, and then once those other quarterback markets dried up, and I'm honestly surprised at some of the decisions that were made when they could have had Huntley, who I thought it certainly is a serviceable backup. I wonder if he ends up back in Baltimore. I wonder if they're like, yeah, maybe he's better than what we got here.
I don't know why you wouldn't. I mean, that seems like kind of a no-brainer.
But they kind of let him go.
They did, but yeah, I don't know. That seems like an easy layup.
I agree.
Like knows everything and is. Who is the backup over there right
Isn't
now?
it Josh Johnson, who's been in the league for those many years?
Yeah, I'm trying. All right, I'll pull it up. I got it up on our lads. Yeah, it is. It's Josh Johnson.
Right.
Yeah, that's it. They only have the 2 of them. So, yeah, I mean that would make sense.
I'd be confident about that if I were the Ravens, given Lamar's injury history.
Yeah, it's kind of that's kind of what we were thinking with Huntley. We bring him back there. There's the familiarity and all of that. But at the same time, like it's kind of that old. If you lose this quarterback, what do you have? And in our division, you lose a starting quarterback, and you're us, and you do what we did last year. It's like usually when that happens, it's the end of the road.
Yes.
And we've seen that in Cincinnati 2 of the 4 years with Burrow. You lose the guy, and it's done. So Snoop was really cool here, just a matter. And I think really, folks, and we told you about this at the time of acquisition, this was really just to protect against DTR. And I don't know that people gave enough credit to the severity of the injury DTR was recovering from.
Exactly.
And people just weren't aware. The organization loves DTR.
Yeah.
He was really good last year in moments and was clutch when needed to be and had a great camp. And the reality is at the time we just didn't. I don't think probably AB. If somebody asked him a direct question, he would say that they were making sure that DTR would come back and they just wanted to have insurance for that.
It's so odd. I was actually talking with DTR yesterday, and as no secret, one of my favorite guys on the roster.
Is there anybody on the roster you're like, God, that guy sucks? maybe not anymore. I don't think there's been a couple of cruds
there've
through
been
the
a few
years.
creds through the years for sure.
Yeah. So a few
No,
cruds
this
you've
is
had
a
to deal with.
pretty
This is a pretty good group.
It's a pretty crud-free team.
Yeah, I said that in jest, but then I started to think there really, in all honestly, there really isn't anybody who's a tough hang.
No,
We've had some tough hangs.
Yeah, some very tough hangs.
Yeah.
No, crud-free. I do like them all. When I say though, like certain guys are on a certain level for me, and I feel lucky that a lot of them I've developed good relationships with a lot of them.
Yeah, for sure.
But typically the guys that were drafted here, I have the ability to forge a better relationship because I'm the first person they talk to once they're drafted, and they figure out pretty quickly. I'm certainly rooting for them. But I was talking to him yesterday, and it's got to be so weird. Okay, so he's made a lot of growth, and it's growth that you've seen, that I've seen, that anybody who watches those games has seen. It's growth that the players in the locker room have seen, and multiple of them have talked about with me. It's growth that people in the front office has seen, and I've talked to them about. Coaches, all of them. DTR is a rising star in the eyes of this organization, and they are thrilled that they have him and are going to be able to have him kind of be the backup, I think, of the future going forward. But he and I were talking. We talked about a couple of those throws, the touchdown to Thrash, and then the one that I thought was an even better throw. And he said it would have been the best throw of his football life had he gotten that one to Prochet. I said, well, I could tell you, it was impressive. It stood out to me as well. But it's just got to be such a situation. You make all this growth. You play in the preseason. You certainly have shown, what you're capable of. And then the reality is, and I said this to him, it's got to be odd, and hard that you've made growth. You can play at a high level. Everybody knows it. But the reality of the situation is that the organization and probably everybody hopes that we don't see you play this year. It's great to know that if we do see you, that you're ready to do it. But that's got to be so different from being, a 5-year starter at UCLA and, used to being the man to being all right, I'm making strides and I know I can play at this level now.
Yeah.
And then it's basically all right, now the season's here. Let's hope we don't see you. So we don't play football again this year.
Every one of those guys has to make that adjustment, right?
Yeah.
I mean, all of them. Well, you think of Chase Daniel, Colt McCoy, the guys who did it for years, for 15 years, is that was the job. They were all the dude, right? And then at some point you have to get used to being not. And I think one thing that's cool for DTR this year is last year, just kind of his spot. And, he didn't. I'm sure there was part of you, you obviously have self-confidence, but there's probably some who's I think I can play at this level. I feel like I can.
Yeah.
But he's led a game-winning drive to beat Pittsburgh.
That's right.
He's got that now.
His last 3 drives in the league all produce points.
Yeah. So, he's got a totally different – now it's okay, I know I can go. Now it's just incumbent upon him. And this is one of the things that – you and I talked about this in the offseason. It is the NFL doesn't fail at much. But if there is, and I don't, fail is probably too strong of a word, but there is absolutely a need for guys on rosters to play more games.
100%.
And there is need for somebody like DTR to play in a spring league and play games.
He should be a starting quarterback. And
he should get 10 starts.
Yep.
For whatever that league is. They just need to get alignment on that because as we were thinking about this, I was reminded of that conversation we had. I think we had that in June or May. We had that
we were
talk.
spot on, brother.
We were. As it turns out, we were spot on, according to people in the know. But it's really hard to develop once you're here.
Yes. And listen, to develop in the league from the people I've talked to, there are a couple things. Number one, you have to have a great position coach. Mm-hmm. That's very instrumental in your development. Number two, you have got to be willing to put in all of the work that is necessary at times to get development and get reps even when they're not available to you in the structured practice. That's why they always have those opportunity periods where the guys who are just doing scout team are able to go and actually get some reps. And you've got to take advantage of those. You've got to be committed to doing everything that you can do to better yourself. And it can be very, very hard. I think it can be a very difficult thing to do because you can get away from it. You have to be wired to understand, all right, I've got to still be as locked in as ever, even though I'm not the man anymore, because the goal is at some point to be the man. And by the way, if I stay stagnant in my development arc, I'm not going to ever be the man. So I've got to keep improving and making sure that I can have this be what I need it to be, what I've always dreamt this, career path would be.
No, it's yeah. And it's so different, in the college game, there are so many games that are built in that are blowouts. And so you can develop the second and third string quarterback in games during blowouts, especially at the top of the sport. I mean, Ohio State doesn't play a game of any salt until they play Iowa in the beginning of October, and then Oregon, and then it gets tough. But like the first month, it's Akron, Western Michigan, and Marshall. They're 50-point favorites going to be in all of them. So like the second and third string guys are going to get to run. The NFL, you don't have the opportunity for that, first and foremost. But second of all, even in blowouts, you rarely see like, here's all the twos.
For sure.
That almost never happens. So
even think about like when you and I, for a while when we were locked on FIFA and you do like a season, like
yeah.
you get to play your second guys all the time.
Yeah, for sure, because there's all the different games and the clubs you're playing in. And you guys get
some
tired.
jabrones. You're like, let's play these guys.
You don't get to, at this level, you don't get to. It just isn't something that's done. So even if you're down, 17 in the fourth, it's not like you run out the second string, the twos. That doesn't happen.
Yep.
The ones try to get rhythm and they try to build on things and work on things. So it's just a totally different mentality, and it's a real hole in the league. It's the only real hole. Everything else is kind of a home run. But they really should find a partnership with that spring league.
How much better would it be?
These guys and that league would benefit.
Yeah.
And you'd have a chance. I mean, we talked about it at the time, like a guy like Mac Jones, who neither of you or I were crazy about, but like he wouldn't benefit. He would benefit from playing in a league. Justin Fields would benefit for playing in a league like that. Guys like DTR would benefit from being like the man and playing in 10 games and throwing it around. And whether it's running our system or another one, it doesn't matter. You could even run vanilla. Like, doesn't matter. Just he needs reps. He needs live bullets.
Totally.
And he's dang good. He was the number 3 dual threat quarterback in the country out of high school. He chose UCLA over Michigan at the end, according to the recruiting services, but had Bama offers and all of those things. So he was a big time dude, and that kind of, I think, explains all of that. This morning from Field Yates, among others, the Browns have restructured the contract of quarterback Deshaun Watson, converting $44.79 million of his 2024 base salary into a signing bonus, created $35.8 in cap space per sources. Cleveland now has over $62 million in cap space. That is the most in the NFL. So I saw a lot of back and forth with this. Mike Renner, who we used to have on a long time with PFF, didn't understand it at all in terms of what we were thinking. Other people thought maybe it meant a trade for Aiyuk, and so that all of those things, which you and I were texting this morning. This is one of those things, though, where you and I, anytime people panic about the cap, we're always like, just chill, like don't worry about it.
The Browns are excellent at managing it. It is a malleable thing.
Love that word.
And Chris Cooper and Andrew Berry and Paul DePodesta are as good as anybody in the league at working with that. And so what the Browns are doing is continuing to push some of Deshaun Watson's salary into the future when, guess what? Those cap hits will actually take up a smaller percentage of the cap than they would have had they not pushed in the future. And so the bill always will come due, but when you have owners willing to spend like the Haslams do, you're able to use some things to assist your overall salary cap health. This wasn't made, in my opinion. Look, they will always be flexible if should an insane opportunity present itself. They're always open to exploring that, and this gives them that flexibility. But my guess would be the goal here would be to take that $62 million and roll it into next year because you're going to need it next year. You have more monies that come due and things of that nature. So their goal, they're managing this cap with multi-year horizons. And so this gives them a lot more space in 25 and 26, which they are going to need. So that's why this is done. And it was inevitable.
Of course. Yeah. Some great news in the last couple of minutes. Denzel Ward cleared concussion protocol, and so he was at practice. Denzel must be talking after practice today. Said he will have a new helmet this season, but won't wear the Guardian cap in game. There is that one helmet technology. I don't want to get the manufacturer wrong, but there is one that does the same thing as the Guardian.
That you don't need to use the Guardian cap. It provides the same. Those are the ones. Yeah, exactly.
Is it one manufacturer? Or is it several that all have the same technology?
I think there are a few every year. It keeps getting crazy and crazier and crazier.
Okay. So that's kind of where you stand on that. But that was something we talked about even last week in terms of felt pretty good about Denzel and the way that all of that would shake out. Dante Foreman comes back. So he's back in the mix, which we told you how that was going to happen as well.
Told you that yesterday.
What else did I miss?
No.
Everything else? It was a busy morning.
It was a very busy morning. So I've come across something that we'll tease it, but I read just something recently about Tom Brady that I wanted to run by you and see if this is even possibly true.
Okay.
Is it in here?
Sure. It's actually in the next thing. So just hold that, because I think that's
I
what
got
you're
a
going
full
to get
show.
into,
I even
right?
just booked segment 3 for
He's
it.
booking everything through. Yeah. So I think
Give it.
Save that.
Oh, there it is.
Save
Yep.
that.
All right, so it is. Then it is true.
It is. Yeah.
That's outrageous.
Pretty wild.
Wow.
Sure is.
It's an attention getter, as you
It
would
is.
say.
That, well, as Buford T. Justice would say, that is an attention getter. That's how that goes. So there you go. So they will have that. They've already practiced for the final time. They'll go away. Monday we come back, and it's a game week for them as the Dallas Cowboys await on Sunday. Today was a little newsy around the league. I'll be curious what the weekend holds. There's still some stuff that's not done. We talked yesterday about the Jamar Chase stuff down in Cincinnati, the Brandon Aiyuk stuff in San Francisco. Like all of this stuff is still kind of swirling around the league.
Yep.
Adam Schefter made some headlines. He was on McAfee this morning.
That'll be in segment 3 now.
There you go. We'll play that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we'll get to that a little bit later as well in the program. But it's go time. You have a slow build up to this. You had college football or high school football debut last week, a couple of high school football games, and then college football all in tonight. There's like 8 games, a couple of decent ones. Colorado plays tonight on ESPN at 8 o'clock, and then a full slate of games all weekend in college starting on Sunday, and then Sunday night. There's Saturday, Sunday night, and Monday as well. So your football is here, and then your NFL plays the hits, as I like to say, next Thursday, Sunday, and
Boy,
Monday.
do they. Your mic's not on, Gibby, but good try.
Good try.
Thursday, Friday.
Oh, yeah, because we
Sunday,
got
Monday.
Brazil.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have 4 out of 5 days. College, you get
I got to be
one
honest
day.
with you. Like
Make it count.
I didn't need. I don't need a Friday night game. I don't like colleges on Friday. I don't like the NFL on Friday. Leave it to the high school kids. Let them be. Just let them live.
Yep.
You don't need to. You don't need to hammer us over the head with that to go to Brazil and play on a Friday. So get working on that developmental league instead of worrying about Brazil and the emerging market. I got to tell you something. I watched the final. I didn't realize it at the time, but the final episode of 1923 last night. So I started it all the way back.
Yeah?
I am convinced that he had 3 ideas for a show, 3 separate. It's really 3 separate shows. They're very loosely even linked. The Native American angle is no.
That's not a show, though. That couldn't be a show.
No. But it really has no business even in this world.
Fair.
They don't intersect at all.
I think my guess
maybe
is
at some point
must
they
at
do,
some point.
but
Yeah.
we're 8 episodes in and there isn't
not.
any. It was as if it just stopped in the middle of an episode and went, there's the series. There's the first season.
There's the season.
But it wasn't even like a cliffhanger. It was like in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Just stopped. My wife goes, "Well, let's see how the next one
Because he doesn't
starts."
even get.
No.
He doesn't even come back.
No, he's
Right.
on a boat.
He's on a boat.
He's pulled off a boat. The most interesting storyline. He's pulled off a boat.
Yeah.
And on the other side of it, it's just like a regular episode. Then it just stops. So I think the Sheridan guy's got so much stuff on his plate.
Yeah.
He's just trying to get things done. So he just makes everything really beautiful. Has some great liners in there. Hires great actors. The overarching stories are really fun, but in terms of the actual episodic stuff, it's a mess.
It's a little bit of a mess. Did I have it right about how the
But
uppity
that was
guy met
stupid
his
too
demise?
because the uppity guy he pulls a gun and then he charges him. Why are you charging him with a just?
Just shoot him.
Why are you running at him?
Don't need to. It's not a hand-to-hand combat weapon.
No.
But it's. I mean, that's a brutal way to go. Is just flipping off of a cruise ship.
Yeah, drowning's up there.
Yeah.
I also think probably could have saved him, right?
Didn't seem like anybody was motivated to do so.
I think he's kind of a crud.
Yeah.
So they said, what are you gonna do?
Now him and his spunky little lady are ready to go take on the
I
world.
like her. Well, no,
They're
they'll
separated.
meet here.
At the end?
They'll meet in Bozeman, Montana. She said.
Yeah, they'll meet there.
Yeah. Let me ask you this: are you watching the Vince Vaughn show on Apple Plus?
So we watched the first 2 episodes, and I absolutely enjoy it.
I mean, I love him, so I mean, I feel like I would so that's where I'm thinking about going next.
Oh yeah, I think you'll like it. You'll like it.
I've never watched any of the Apple Plus.
It's
stuff.
because it's him. It's because it's
He's got the energy that we need out of EV.
Yeah, he's like a detective fired. He's on sabbatical because he did some bad things on video.
Where's it set?
The Florida Keys.
Sold.
Yeah.
That's easy.
There's like a
nefarious things happen. Guy with funny lines. I'm in.
Totally.
Yeah, that's it. That's all
right.
I need.
Yeah.
All right, there you go. I think we got through all of it. There was a lot going on news-wise, but I think we got through all of it. Those are your hot topics of the day. They are presented by University Hospitals, official healthcare partner of your Cleveland Browns. Coming up next, we'll go around the league. That big question that Z was talking about in regard to Tom Brady. You'll hear an update from Cincinnati in regard to what is going on with Jamar Chase. Here's a Cliff Notes version. They don't know what's going on with Jamar Chase.
So there seems to be.
Hold your thoughts.
It's called a tease, Z.
Hold your thoughts. We'll get to it. I think your thoughts are probably accurate. We'll get to all of that and so much more. Off and Run on a Thursday edition. Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet. Sports betting partner, your Cleveland Browns, now live in Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Boost your game day this season with Ballybet Sportsbook app. Place your first bet of $50 or more, and you're going to get $150 back in bonus bets. Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. You'll get $150 back. Every time I read it, I feel like I say 150. You know what I mean? Like two
Yeah.
separate, like you're going to get 100,
Yeah.
but it's 150 back.
That's 150 back.
That's how it's going to go. That's how it's written. I just read it the wrong way. All right, let's go around the league presented by Leaf
think you're
Filter.
great.
Thanks, brother.
Ooh,
Official.
look at this. Look at that up in the corner.
Look at that. What is that?
It's a new logo.
What do we got?
The dog and the
Look
CBD.
at that. And then a locator.
Look at you in the shades, brother.
Locator.
Jordan just killing it back there.
He is. CBD with the dog and the locator. I like it. How about I knew that? A locator.
A locator.
That's what that is.
Yeah, well, you're a
What,
TV.
did you put the locator in?
You're a
Yeah.
a veteran.
I
A
am.
veteran.
All right, let's do this. There's a lot going on here in the various things we have around the league. So let's start in Cincinnati. A day after saying Jamar Chase would be back and practicing, the wide receiver was 13 minutes late to practice, showing up in street clothes, took a lap or two, and went back inside. Zach Taylor available afterwards and had this to say about it.
Through it, keep taking it day to day. Again, he's a huge member of our team, and appreciate him and look forward to getting him back hopefully at some point soon.
Is it fair to say when you talked to us yesterday that it was your expectation that he would go the rest of the
I think I probably put my foot in my mouth speaking too quickly, and it's just, again, this is a day-to-day situation. We'll just keep seeing it as that.
I am in 90% of these things. I mean, first of all, good, right? That they have this. This is good for us. I like it. He's the second most important player on their team. Most of these times, I am pro player in all of this stuff, but you got to know your audience a little bit if you're Jamar Chase. The only people in his draft class who have gotten extensions, Lawrence got an extension at quarterback. Jalen Waddle got an extension, but Jalen Waddle also wasn't trying to reset the receiver market. Jefferson didn't get his until after he played his year.
Yep.
Also, you play for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yep.
Mike
And
Brown is not going to do that. He is not negotiating with you in season.
You know
he
the
will
deal.
lose rather than that.
Yeah. You know the deal. I mean, that's the bottom line. You know what the deal is. You got games to play. People, I mean, right. He's
under contract.
He's under contract. So's Aiyuk. And you saw it yesterday. I know we have Shanahan. I don't know if we have Lynch. Lynch yesterday was basically like, you're going to need to play.
Yeah.
You're going to need to play.
Yeah.
So come play because
figure it
you're
out.
under contract. You're going to need to play to get an accrued season. Mm-hmm. So come play.
Yeah.
Like enough.
Yeah, it's enough. It's enough.
We're not just giving you away just for fun. We had a great trade out
We'll
there.
get to that later. Yeah.
Sure.
But
And,
yeah.
like, so you got to play.
I see no scenario how – I don't know what Jamar Chase or his representatives think is going to happen here. Like, you're playing with your college teammate,
Yep.
one of your best buddies. You're on a team that's made the Super Bowl in the AFC Championship game when he's healthy. You guys are in the prime of your lives.
Yep.
You just saw your other best buddy not get that deal done until after the season you're about to play.
Yep.
Go play.
Go play.
Or don't, which would be wonderful if that's the case as well. This is interesting. This was the one that you wanted to get to. So, a developing story involving a guy named Tom Brady. So Tom Brady is approved, if he's approved, as a partial owner of the Vegas Raiders, which is something that he's wanted for a little while now. He'll be forced to abide by unique and severe restrictions in his dual role as Fox broadcaster, according to a presentation given to team owners at NFL meetings in Minneapolis on Tuesday. The league confirmed to ESPN that among the restrictions, Brady would not be permitted in another team's facility, would not be permitted to witness practice, would not be permitted to attend broadcast production meetings, either in person or virtually. The lack of access to coaches and players before games could be the most severe restriction. Those meetings at which broadcast crews meet with the matchup's head coaches and key players are often the lifeblood of insight on a telecast.
Yes.
The rest of his crew would be fine, as would other Fox crews. It would apply just to him. You have the floor.
So is that in play now just because he's going for it? Because the one report I read is that it's like effective immediately. This doesn't sound like as effective immediately.
From the article I read, it's if he's approved.
But if he is, I mean, so do they just preemptively say, as you're in the process, we're not going to let you in facilities?
I don't know. I know that there were a number of owners that voiced concerns about him having access as an owner of another team, and that's why this presentation happened in Minneapolis.
All right, I'm going to tell you why we play a game thing or not a thing.
Yep.
I'm going to tell you why I'm going to do my best to explain why I don't think it's a thing to the majority of people. So number one, he's going to be doing either the first, second, or third best game every week in the league. Okay. So he's going to be playing the hits a lot. So that's part of it. Number two, he's just recently out of the league. So he still knows a lot of the teams. He knows a lot of the players, knows a lot of what's going on, a lot of the coaches.
Sure.
So he's going to have that intellectual knowledge. Three, because he's always doing one of the most important games, he's not going to have to waste a whole lot of time with the deep cuts, if you will, that you get in a lot of that stuff. And four, I think it actually might be okay for the broadcast because if he doesn't meet all the players and coaches and talk to them, maybe he won't be attached to them and he'll feel more free to say whatever the hell he wants, kind of like Barkley. So I think his situation in the interim will not affect you out there listening, your experience at all.
I did read one thing, and again, I don't know if this was in the article that was sourced, Gibbe, but that he is also, if he does become an owner, he's not allowed to criticize officials.
Oh, I didn't see that. Is that in there?
I did not see that.
That's what I saw in like multiple tweets from different places.
So
They're
that
all
would be
aggregators, but it says that as part of it, he's not able to criticize the officials because you can't do that as an owner. That's off limits. So that would be, to me, that would be a problem. It says right here, Tom Brady will not be allowed to criticize the refs as a broadcaster as a part of his attempt to purchase the Raiders. This says effective immediately. Everything else we read says not that. Brady will not be allowed into production meetings, practices, team facilities, despite having to call games for Fox, per the Associated Press.
Do you think in the early this year, the first couple of years of this, do you think that the average audience watcher would even notice or be aware that he has something or didn't?
No.
I don't either.
Not at all.
I think down the road, if he's doing this 10 years from now and he's trying to own the rate, quite honestly, you shouldn't be able to be a minority owner in the league and do his job. Pick one.
Pick one. Yep.
That's what I would say. I would say pick one, Tom.
We're
paying you $300 million over 10 years. If I'm Fox, I'm paying you $300 million over 10 years to be the face of Fox Network, because that's what it is. He's not the head play-by-play guy. He is one of the faces of Fox Network. So
yes.
I'm paying you to do that. You're going to meet advertisers. You're going to go to upfronts. We're paying you lucratively to do it. So pick this, or you can go into NFL ownership, and you can do all of that.
All of it.
Fine.
Right.
Do a podcast, whatever you want to do. But in terms of this pick
is what you're
one
doing.
or the other.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to own a sports team, get in with an NBA team, get in with that's not the NFL. I get it. But you have no affiliation with Vegas anyway. Like,
no,
it's silly. So, like, it seems very simple to me to I would just say, Tom, you got to pick.
Yeah.
If I'm Fox. That's what I would say.
If I'm Fox, I want the best possible broadcast.
Yeah.
And you're
You
paying
can get
him
note
to
or
deliver
two
that.
on a Saturday production meeting.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's
I do think, though, that, like, I really believe what I'm saying in terms of the normal football audience would not
Agreed.
notice that he's missing out. If you think about when Al Michaels would come in here with Collinsworth, right? Like, they'd come in here, but and also, like, they weren't here that often, right? I mean, all of a sudden we became like a hot thing, and we're playing on Sunday Night Football, and all of a sudden those guys were coming in here. Like, we didn't see Al Michaels very often. Then all of a sudden he was here for a Sunday Night Football game. I think the Rams came in, and him and Collinsworth were here on Sunday Night Football,
exactly
and they were in here, and we had him in. It was awesome. But for the most part, if you're Brady, you're going to be calling the Cowboys and the Chiefs and the Eagles and the Bills and those teams, and you know those teams.
And by the way, the Raiders aren't one of those teams.
No, they're not. And they're not. He's not. I guess my point of all this is he knows the top of the league.
Yes.
He's not, like our boy Spiro Ditas calling the last game of the day that was drafted, like, deep into their rosters. Like, he's going to be calling the best games of the week.
The best.
Yeah. We're going to find out, I guess. I guess we'll find out because he's going to call our game on Sunday. So I guess next Friday, if we're sitting here and Tom Brady starts walking around, we'll be like, okay, I guess.
Yeah, I guess that wasn't.
I guess it was okay.
Real. But if we see them walking around and no Tom
Brady, yeah, that's the way that'll go. All right, this is from the Rich Eisen show. The Steelers named Russell Wilson the starter yesterday. Mike Tomlin was on with Rich talking about Justin Fields. Let's have a listen.
my friend Raheem Morris better be ready for a Justin Fields package. I'll just say that.
Okay. So Fields won't just have an earbud and a clipboard is what you're saying here.
I don't want to disclose any strategic approaches, but it's probably too much talent to be sitting around watching all day.
I think you did, Coach.
Okay, so there's two things there. Number one, perhaps he genuinely has a package that they're going to use Justin Fields in and is very comfortable sharing it. Or I don't think things like this happen by accident in the National Football League. Mm-hmm. So that feels to me like, hey, Raheem Morris, I really want you to spend time in your practice week prepping for Justin Fields.
Yeah, like a run package.
Right.
Yeah.
I want you to take time out of your practice schedule to do that. I want Michael Penix working your scout team as though he is in fact, Justin Fields. I think that's what it feels like to me. I want you to take time out of what it is that you're doing to dedicate yourself to this. Otherwise,
that can be true, and it can also be true that they actually have one in there. Either way, you're having to prepare for it. It doesn't hurt him by saying that out loud. It's just a fun, you know what I mean? Even if they have a Fields package, I'm sure Raheem Morris would think that they might have one anyway. Like, I kind of assumed they probably would have him run out there.
I think so too. I think this is just a wink,
gamesmanship.
nod. Yeah, you better really prep for it. Now, will we use it? Meh.
Yeah.
I always think it's a very difficult situation in the NFL when you put in certain packages for other quarterbacks.
It's gimmicky, man.
It means
you're not a serious team.
Right.
That's what I think. When I see,
I
feel that even in college when we got this package. You're not serious. I worked with Tebow at Florida, but very rarely does that work. And in the national championship game, they didn't use it at all his freshman year.
The only time to me where it's not kind of like intrusive is when you do it in like a 2-point situation.
Yeah.
Because we did that last year, I think, a little bit with Flacco with DTR.
Yeah. In the 2-point. Yeah.
Or like a 4th and short.
But like a drive in the middle of the third quarter, like, hey, we're going to pull out this, we're going to go here. I don't know.
That seems wild to me.
Seems pretty gimmicky to me. We mentioned the Brandon Aiyuk business, and you're going to hear from Adam Schefter on with McAfee about that here coming up in the next segment. The head coach of the San Francisco 49ers is the original gangster, Kyle Shanahan. Mm-hmm. He was asked about potentially playing without Brandon Aiyuk and Trent Williams week 1. Here's what he had to say.
Yeah, I'm optimistic that things will work out with Trent. I'm not sitting here knowing what day it'll be. I mean, we're getting close to playing a game, so my mind is completely on preparing for a game without those guys. But yeah, I feel when two sides want to get a deal done, usually it happens.
Good.
Trent Williams always, it feels like he's in this all the time. Didn't he start a whole season in Washington?
He did.
Over contract stuff? He's constantly embroiled in contract problems.
He is. And he's also very, very good. Niners, I think they will figure that one out, and he's not a guy that needs much to get ready to go. I'm more curious what's going on there with Christian McCaffrey. Elijah Mitchell had to go on IR, so their backup's Mason, I think, Jordan Mason.
Okay. He'll run for 1,200 yards in Kyle's system.
If need be, he sure will. But McCaffrey's the calves are no joke, and those things can last quite a long time. And it just, I've talked to a few people around there. My dad's starting to get nervous about it, boots on the ground, but other people who actually were there and talked to them, I think that they're hopeful that it will not be a factor early in the season, but I think it very well could be.
I have the number 1 pick in the one fantasy league that I play. Beamsy asked me last night, Dad, who you picking? I'm like, I think you got to take McCaffrey 1, I think.
So
normally I would think Jefferson, but I can't trust Darnold and all that operation.
Tyreek's not bad either.
Yeah.
CD is not bad.
I hate picking 1. I hate it.
Yeah, I'd rather not. But no, it's McCaffrey, but there's a little bit of more risk with it this year than in the past.
And he's had injury trouble. I mean, that in Carolina all the time. He was banged up. I did pick him number 1 probably 6 or 7 years ago, and it was the year he never played.
It's great. It's great.
So much fun. I loved it.
Yeah.
Patriots head coach Gerard Mayo has chosen Jacoby Brissett as the team starting quarterback. The veteran held off a late surge from rookie Drake May, the number 3 pick in the draft. I don't think that that's what's happened at all. I think that they just don't want to send the lamb to slaughter rather, with Drake May. They have a terrible offensive line. They have no weapons. They have no run game. It's honestly the worst offensive team in football.
Yeah.
Truly.
No doubt.
Yeah. It really is. So I think
no doubt.
That's just about future planning.
And here, let me try to pull it up real quickly. My recollection was they have like an absurdly difficult schedule to start. So they go week 1, Patriots at Bengals. Week 2, Seahawks at Patriots. Week 3, Patriots at Jets. Week 4, Patriots at Niners. Week 5, Dolphins at Patriots. Week 6, Texans at Patriots. Week 7, Patriots at Jags. Week 8, Jets at Patriots. So the Seahawks game
1-7
is the lightest game in that 8-game stretch by a pretty wide margin. So my guess is you would maybe see him come in for Patriots Titans November 3rd. You go Patriots Titans, Patriots Bears, Rams, Dolphins, Colts, Cardinals, Bills, Chargers, Bills. I mean, it's a tough schedule, brother.
Here's what I would do. Like if I were Bobby Kraft and I owned that team,
yep.
What I would be hoping for is for us to be what we appear to be, which is very bad, which that should be very easy. And that for Drake May to come in maybe the last 6 to 8 games of the season, flash a little bit, show a little bit of juice to him, enough to lead me to believe that I don't have to draft a quarterback high next year in the draft. I mean, they took him 3rd overall, so like.
Yep.
And by the way, we're not married to these guys anymore. We can punt on them quickly. This isn't
Very
the old
quickly.
days. So like, you need 6 or 8 games out of him to see if he's got it. If he's got it, ideally he's got it, and then you can trade out for a bounty of picks because you're going to pick really high.
Yep.
They are tankable. The Raiders are tankable.
Very tankable.
The New Orleans Saints could get there pretty quickly. Right now they're a little too talented. Carolina is tankable.
Very tankable.
There's some bad teams at the bottom of the league, and
Yep.
they're one of them. And
Yes.
and there's going to be a slew of teams that, like, the Raiders are drafting a quarterback number 1 next year. Full stop.
Yep.
So, like, if you're worse than them and you can make a bidding war happen, the Saints, for example, are another team that would pick a quarterback in the top of the round. They would do that next year. So be in position to have control of the draft board next year. If I'm New England, that's what my hopes would be.
Because you can get, like you said, extract a lot of value. You can do what the Bears did, and look at how it
completely changed the trajectory.
turned their franchise around. Yep.
Now they're in a spot. All right, we mentioned that Schefter clip on Brandon Aiyuk. We will play that for you coming up next. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet, sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Now live in Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Attention homeowners, you're looking for a stimulus package to upgrade your home's exterior. Well, look no further than my great friends at Renew Home Exteriors. Whether you need siding, roofing, or stonework, the team at Renew Home Exteriors are going to have you covered. And here's the best part. For the month of August, get a 10% rebate on your project or enjoy 0% interest for 5 years. Say goodbye to high interest payments when you choose Renew. Renew will even let you see how your home's going to look before the upgrade with a 3D model rendering. So cool to be able to see it before you buy it. Upgrade today and save big. Visit RenewEstimate.com to book a free estimate today.
Oh, man. And the French blue. Yeah, look at him. I mean, the monk strap. Look at he's pointing at people.
Sure he is. People here, people there. Little taste.
Good to see you.
You too.
Good to see you. Thanks for all you do.
Running a business. No big deal. All right. We mentioned this earlier. This was on the Pat McAfee show today. Adam Schefter dropping by with some news and kind of the details of how the Brandon Aiyuk Brown situation played out and how the Aiyuk situation is going to play out around the league.
Schefter, am I doing too much of this? Am I doing too much of this? I know you just watched what just took place. Cleveland opens up a lot of money right before the season starts. Why would they do that? Unless they were trying to make a signing or bring somebody in. What are your thoughts on it? And should I be linking this all together?
Well, let me say this. With Brandon Aiyuk, nothing ever seems to be what it appears to be, right? On Thursday, August 1st, I thought a trade to Cleveland was happening and was imminent, and then it didn't get done. And so the holdup with Cleveland all along hasn't been whether or not the Browns have cap space. The holdup there has been Brandon Aiyuk's willingness to accept a trade to Cleveland.
Big money.
The contract would have been done there if he wanted to go. The compensation would have been done there if he wanted to go. He's balked at going to Cleveland in the past. Now, could he change his mind today, in the next week? Anything's possible here, because I would venture to tell you that there's never been a case as unpredictable as the one that has gone on this summer between the 49ers and Brandon Aiyuk. At various points dating back to before training camp, the 49ers thought they had a deal with Brandon Aiyuk, and they didn't. They thought there was a trade with the Cleveland Browns, and then there wasn't. A trade with New England was coming together until it wasn't. A trade with Pittsburgh was going to happen until it didn't. He was re-signing with the 49ers after meeting with them until he didn't. He was going to be traded again until he wasn't. Now, he was going to practice yesterday until he didn't, until he ghosted him. So, how many people have been out there also pointing out that trades with teams are done? Like, at various points, I've heard he's going to Pittsburgh. I've heard he's going to Cleveland. I've heard. Has anything gotten done yet? No. All of a sudden, at some point, when Mike Lombardi's saying the rubber meets the road, yes, when we were on Monday here, we're saying this becomes a critical week for all sides to get together, to push, to make something happen. It doesn't mean it's going to be resolved, but there certainly were going to be renewed efforts this week with CeeDee Lamb, which got done, with Jamar Chase, which seemed to be going the right way until yesterday, with Brandon Aiyuk, which continues to be a situation that has been a stalemate, with Trent Williams, which hasn't been a lot of progress so far, and with Hassan Reddick, which also a stalemate with not a lot of progress so far. But that's not for a lack of effort this week from teams and trying to make something happen.
Back in 10.
The regular season's opening 1 week from tonight.
Which is awesome. Yeah, we are all happy about it. It's very good news. But it is deadlines normally bring compromises and agreements in this entire thing.
You're up.
There seems to be – so it seems like Aiyuk and Chase are playing the same game, because I just saw a video down in Cincinnati where Jamar Chase, as they're finishing stretching, he like saunters onto the practice field in street clothes. So this seems – they feel like they're playing the same game plan. Both of them gave assurances they'd be at practice, or at least their coaches thought that, and I assumed that would come from the player and then bailed on those assurances.
Yes.
So it seems like Chase and Aiyuk are playing the same game.
And there's a lot of talk. The Athletic talked about what NFL agents think about Brandon Aiyuk's handling of this, and they were very, very critical. Many think that he has handled it horribly, some of the quotes there. So it's interesting to see. I mean, obviously they think what they're doing is going to work. but the team is not obligated to give you a new deal right now.
No.
So, and by the way, you want to get paid. Not playing doesn't help you either. And his agent is Ryan Williams, is Aiyuk's agent. I was just trying to see if they have the same agent.
Do they by chance or no?
Jamar Chase agent. Doesn't look like Alliance Sports. Rocky Arsenault appears to be his agent.
Okay.
But I don't think that they don't have the leverage that they believe that they have. Because, no. And that's the unfortunate part. Are they very important and critical to what the team does? Yeah, but players get hurt all the time and teams have to adjust to it. They don't get anything if they don't play. So what, are they going to sit out 6 games and come play? I mean, what's their end goal if the team does not ultimately give them what they want?
Aiyuk's position is even, quite honestly, Aiyuk's position. Aiyuk was ahead of Chase in the draft, so Aiyuk is in the situation that Justin Jefferson was in. He was in that draft class, 2020.
Yep.
So he's saying, look, these guys got paid. I want to be here. My theory on that is he wants to be there. They wanted him to be there, right? But they both played tough to the point that feelings got hurt on both sides. It was almost done, as Schefter detailed, and we alluded to this in early August, that this is kind of how that was trending. And then it became, okay, well, we're best off together. Let's sort it out. And that's kind of how it ended up in this mess. The Chase one is crazy. Just for perspective, I just pulled up the 2021 draft. The only players in that draft who got extensions, it's Trevor Lawrence got an extension and Jalen Waddle got an extension. Waddle went 6th. Lawrence went 1st. Chase went 5th. If Jamar Chase would take Jalen Waddle's deal, Cincinnati would have done it this summer.
Yep.
He's trying to get Justin Jefferson's deal. So go put another Justin Jefferson season up.
That's what I'm saying.
And you'll get it.
We looked at not that he is not good. I think Jamar Chase is an elite receiver, top 5 receiver for sure in the NFL. But what he has done from a number standpoint and efficiency standpoint has not necessarily been the same as some of those top receivers. And look at what Justin Jefferson did at the end of last year. He had no quarterback play and still was 100 yards every single week. He's got to be – I don't know that his position is as strong as he thinks it is. I think obviously there's a lot of respect for his talent around the league.
Yeah.
But you've got to play, and you've got to be – his rookie year, he was special. Agree?
Chase?
Very special.
Yeah. He shot out of a cannon.
But his last 2 seasons have not necessarily been special seasons. They've been good
really
receiver
good.
seasons, but they're not special. He's come back pointing at people.
Oh, my gosh. Inspiring a generation. Yeah. Little taste.
Boom.
Oh, back.
Stop it. Come on. Didn't see that coming.
I didn't either.
Didn't see that coming. Wasn't prepared for that.
Backwards. He's just 24, Chase is.
He's a superstar.
Yeah.
But for him, if his seasons were reversed and it went year 3, 1, year 2, 2, and year 1, 3, he would be in a much better position to be making the demands that he is making.
Yeah, I think that's very, very fair. Last year it was 100 for 12, 16, 7 touchdowns. Didn't have Burrow for half of that. The last time he had Burrow for a full season, he didn't play a full season. He was dinged up. Remember that in 2022? So he was 87 for 1,046. Yeah, he missed, I think, 4 games in 2022. So he was 1,000 yards, 87 receptions while missing 4 games. But it's the rookie year when he was bonkers.
And look at his yards per catch. Look at his yards per target.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a completely different player.
Yeah. No, it's I think he's really off on this, and I think it's good for all of us.
It's great for us.
Have all the acrimony that you want.
But I mean, unfortunately,
vitamins, minerals,
unfortunately,
amino
they
acids,
open their
proteins,
season.
Get them every day from Joe Bees. Do all you can do. Be all you.
Hey, you guys cut out.
Bees. Get the energy you need. Boost your immune system. Joe Bees. Summer. You've got a lot to get ready for.
right, second hour of the program. It is a Mailbag Thursday edition of the program. Hit your questions to Gibbe on the Twitter and at Browns_Daily.
I also think during the Mailbag, I want to give out a little. I've seen a lot of tweets about it, so I don't know if it was going to make it in the Mailbag. But Gibbe, I'm saying let's do a few minutes of fantasy. Some people at every position to target in your drafts.
I like it. So we'll do that too. Between
for the people.
Then and now, let's do this. We head to the podium, presented by Vivid Seats. Purchase your official fan experience package today for the ultimate game day. Browns Assistant General Manager Catherine Hickman from the podium.
Yeah, I think it's credit to our coaches, to our player development staff. Like, it's opportunities for us to work with the younger guys and develop, more people, more players on the roster, and make sure they get opportunities so that when their name is called, that's the nature of the game, their name will likely be called at some point, they're ready to roll. So I think turning this into, we don't like injuries, but turning this into a positive is to, provide opportunities for other players around us.
You weren't able to claim any players. Did you try?
So we always look at those options, but there's so many things that goes into those decisions, because when you think of claiming a player, it's relative to who you have at that position, but also relative to who you have on the roster, because you need a spot to get that player. So it's this whole puzzle of figuring out what's that player quality and how does that make us better, both from a number standpoint, but also from a talent standpoint. So we felt good with who we had at the cut down.
Did your draft order hurt you in the end?
What I would say to that, Tony, is you can look at different avenues to make those things happen, and sometimes it could be like,
we're coming up on a major fundraising deadline, and there aren't many more between now and the election. So I am
a small trade if you really want to get a player and you want to get ahead of potentially where you're at in that order. So there's different things we look at, and when we think this is a great opportunity for the Browns, we pull the trigger.
Catherine, I asked Kevin before the impact of the injuries last year in terms of coaching quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
What about in terms of roster protection and things like that? Did last year affect the way you guys do business going forward?
I think just injuries in general is something we have to plan for and be ready for, and it goes back to how we develop those players on the practice squad and the back end of the 53. And that's really credit, again, to PD and the coaches. And to your point specifically about the quarterbacks, of course, that's something that we think about. But I wouldn't say that it's any different than how we think about it globally to preparing all of our starters. Definitely a position of priority for sure.
In terms of Deshaun Watson's contract restructuring, how does that help you guys even this year? Is that more about rollover or roster building, or what can you say about that?
Yeah, just like Andrew, I'm not going to go into any details when it comes to players' contract. It's the only thing I'll say is as an organization, our philosophy is to be aggressive when we think about resource allocation and management. So we always look at all options.
Does this give you an opportunity, though, if you guys wanted to make a trade or add a big name player or something like that? You have the flexibility to do that. Anything we do or a lot of things we do, I should say, is flexibility in mind, and how it can give us optionality is huge when we can make moves, whether that's now or down the road.
It was widely reported that the Browns had both a deal, a contract, and a trade offer for Brandon Aiyuk. True or false?
I'm not going to go into the details of that, but I will definitely tell you that when we inquire and we look at options to add players to our team and add talent to our team, so when there are opportunities out there, we'll do our due diligence and we'll do the work, but I won't answer that specifically.
Catherine, when you have a big contract like Deshaun, is it almost baked in the idea that you can reach into that and create flexibility like you guys have multiple times?
I think it's not just Deshaun specifically here. I think it's just from a philosophy, how we think about our contract structure and philosophy and management of our resource. So I'm not going to go into anything specific here outside of just being creative and aggressive on how we want to create that flexibility.
Catherine, did you guys consider cutting Mike Hall after his arrest?
Any Mike Hall question I'm not going to discuss just because of the legal process going on.
What do you think your concerns in the back of your mind are on this roster going forward for the season? Is it as good as you want it to be, or is there still a vulnerability there that you guys want to?
One of the things I love about the NFL is every year you get a new opportunity to compete for a championship. And I think every year that's our plan. That's what we prepare for. Now, injuries are part of the game. They're going to happen. But if there are things that we can help our players there, I think that's an area where we've made an hire in the offseason with a head of performance and medical, and hopefully through our processes we can continue to work there and try to help in that area.
Catherine, I know we asked you about the new kickoff rules like around the draft, but going through to know everything it's going to entail?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's definitely something we thought about from the returning piece, just because there's just going to be more likely that are going to be returned. So not just specifically at the returner position, but just overall as we think of that unit. We worked with Bubba on that, so that's definitely been top of mind as we think through that. And then we'll continue to evaluate as we go through in the season.
Not a question about Aiyuk specifically, but like generally when you guys are working with one of these deals where you might want to trade for somebody who needs to be negotiated with, but they're still on another team, what's the process of that like?
In terms of, you're asking what's our trade process?
You negotiate a trade and a contract extension at the same time.
Oh, understanding. Well, again, I'm not going to go into the specifics of contracts, but just generally those are handled by Andrew, and we work together as a team on advising and giving ideas and creative ways to work through that. But ultimately, he works through those dynamics, and I'm not going to go much into detail.
What's your philosophy, again, generally on pushing money down the road on the cap versus trying to keep an eye on the future?
Yep.
And making sure that doesn't come back to bite you?
Yeah, great question. I think it's part of thinking about it like from a 2 to 3 year outlook. Like you want to think about it in the present, but part of our job in personnel, and I think that's what something Andrew is so good at, is to also think about the future and how we're going to like combine and maybe balance is not a good word, maybe harmonize both. So to my point earlier, for us, it's about giving ourselves options and creating flexibility. If that means different, maneuvers with contracts, we'll explore all options.
Has there been a philosophical evolution when it comes to offensive personnel over the last 12, 24 months? When Kevin got here, he was big on fullbacks, running backs, tight ends. Obviously, there's no fullback. Nick obviously could step in there. Only 2 tight ends on the active roster. You had to bring Dante back today. But just organizationally, has there been a little bit of an evolution philosophically when it comes to offensive roster building now?
I think one thing Andrew says all the time is like the 53 is the first 53, and it's not going to, the 53 we're going to carry by the time we're at week 15 could look very different. So that's kind of how we want to think about it. And like, so to your point specifically about the numbers at certain position, it's like, how are we going to look at the different evolution that are coming in the personnel world to try to like improve our roster? So there's definitely some like fluidity in how we think about it. And then when it comes to your question about offense, like, I'm sure Kevin must have touched on it, like him and his staff has an incredible growth mindset, and they're going to evolve and look at however they can put these guys in the best position to win, they will. So that's how I would answer that question.
There are more players 30 and older this year than ever. Why is that? And do you think next year by stocking up on draft picks, it's time to inject some youth?
Definitely something that we want to see is our young players contributing, and I think we have some of those contributors that are helping out. I think there's a balance with experience that we have. I think of the experience we were able to acquire on the interior defensive line. Like, yes, to your point, they're all around the 30 mark there, but they're all players who have played and contributed in significant ways, and I think can really help us where the D-line is our engine. So I think it's a balance, and to your question, 2-3 year outlook is what we look at, not just from a resource allocation, but from where we're at from a player quality as well. So definitely looking at everything down the road too.
Was Dorian someone that you guys identified early on in this camp?
Hello, everyone. I only want you to donate to my camp.
The dreaded pop-ups.
The dreaded pop-ups. There you go. Is Catherine
say.
still speaking? Or
yeah, I think
we're
she's
good.
back.
She's back. We working on her back?
You want it?
So Andrew's process is he likes us to go through the entire look at the entire body of work and not anchor ourselves on one performance or one game particularly, which I really enjoy. So just really looking at his entire body of work and seeing his development and how hard he works, I think we're just very encouraging things. But those are things we saw from Dorian last year too. He had a really good year, really good preseason, good year with us as well. So just overall, someone who's working really hard, very focused, and we're just really glad to have him.
Catherine, you were correct in predicting that Jim Schwartz would have a huge impact last year. From the front office standpoint, where do you think that unit can make gains this season?
I mean, Jim is a huge part of this. Our players, our coaches are a huge part of this, and I think we have a real chance to one, maintain our performance, our level of performance, and improve it in some areas. Like Jim, I'm sure told you many times, he tells us all the time, like nothing's ever perfect, and he's hard on these guys, and he brings energy and discipline. So I just think the sky's the limit on what we can see from that unit this year.
Catherine, with the offensive tackles, I know at the Combine, Andrew mentioned it's a good problem to have and having a handful of really good ones.
Right.
So I guess just going the route you guys did, and obviously Jack, Jed, and DeJuan, like the recovery's panning out differently. Like how key is that you guys were able to hold on to all of them and just keep that talent in? Right?
Yeah. Well, these guys are working extremely hard to get back and doing great progress, and full trust in our medical department when it comes to where they're at. But to what we talked earlier, like this gave great opportunities to some of our younger guys to develop and step in. We were able to add some veteran experience on the practice squad with Jermaine, so that's extremely valuable. And then just having James as well is awesome. So just having a bunch of guys that can step in and help us is huge from a flexibility and optionality.
To the point about
last one,
aging, I don't know, you guys probably studied this closer than we do. Does 30 mean the same thing that you used to with all the advances in medical science? It seems like guys are playing longer. How's the aging curve evolved?
Yeah, it's a loaded question because it really varies by position. It varies based on what we ask the guys to do. So I think it's on us to evaluate it as a whole and then individually, and really figure out how we can put these guys in best position to succeed, regardless of where they're at in their career and the age. Because again, I could not give you a great answer specifically to that because it's just so broad.
Thanks. Very good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, guys.
All right, there you go. Coming up next, we will get you set for your fantasy football drafts this weekend, get you set for week 1 in college football as well. We will do all of those things. The mailbag coming up about 2:30. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Elk and Elk Serious Lawyers, Serious Injuries. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO for a free case review. Elk and Elk's proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. All right, let's do a little fantasy football.
Yes.
Should we do guys you like?
Yeah, why don't we just do like that, like
positionally?
Yeah.
All right.
Obviously,
let's stay out of the obvious. So we don't need to talk about the
but,
obvious things. So
fantasypoints.com is the website I would recommend for people trying to get an edge. That's the guru.
Yep. Well, just be careful with his
no Sky Moore.
No Sky Moore. Stay out of there.
But he's done a lot of good things.
Yeah. A lot of Sky Moore stock I bought back in the day that I'll never forget.
No, that's not very valuable stock now.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll start at the quarterback position. And this is an incredibly deep room. And what I've kind of noticed in a couple of the drafts that I've done is you do not need to take a quarterback early. You can, but you're sacrificing at other positions where I think things change a little bit more. And of course, the internet is going very slow right now when I want to get into some of this stuff. All right, here we go.
Who is going first quarterback?
Josh Allen.
Josh goes first.
Typically Josh Allen, typically Lamar Jackson, and Mahomes and Jalen Hurts are typically the first four. But that's not the way that I would probably go. That's not the way that I would look at it. Now, if you're talking about people that I really, really like at the quarterback position this year based on their ADP, Anthony Richardson in Indianapolis is one. Burrow actually has become, I think, a big value, but you got to keep an eye on the Jamar Chase thing. And then probably the few that I really, really, really like are Jordan Love. I think Jordan Love is a tremendous value where he's going in drafts right now. Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams.
I like Caleb.
I like Caleb Williams a lot. Jaden Daniels I like a lot. I think he's going to run a ton there. I don't think they're going to be a great team, so he's going to be stat padding, which is always helpful in fantasy. And then, there are so many. You'll get to the end of your drafts, and guys like Jared Goff will just be sitting there. Stafford doesn't get drafted a lot. Herbert's not getting drafted. Rodgers, if he plays, Aaron Rodgers is going to put up big numbers.
Yeah, right.
And he's at the end of your. So don't go crazy on your draft. But if you go for a, kind of a, let's call it more of a riskier guy like an Anthony Richardson or a Caleb or a Jaden Daniels, back them up with a Rodgers or a Goff or a Stafford or a Herbert, and I think you'll be in a good spot. So that's kind of where I'm at quarterback wise. Running back wise, I'll stay away kind of from some of the earlier guys, but as you kind of get into the middle rounds.
What are we going to do? What would you do with us? Is it committee for us?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think if you're in
I think Cincinnati's a committee. I think we're a committee. I just talked to the guy from Cincinnati, and he's like, they think that at some point Chase Brown will take over, but they don't know when, and they think that it could be committee for a lot of the year.
I think it's going to be committee there. I do like Chase Brown a lot. I would put him on my lists. I think Foreman is going to have the most touchdowns. Ford's probably going to have the most touches and yards, and then Nick Chubb will come back. I really like David Montgomery again. I think he and Gibbs are both good picks. I like Ramondre Stevenson. He really is kind of I think he's going to be locked in. They're going to give him
the only operation.
He's the only. I mean, he's going to touch. He could have 300 touches easy this year.
Yeah.
People are back on Javonte Williams. 2 years removed from that big knee injury. And you're getting him at a point where he's very cheap. So these are kind of like late on the draft guys. Blake Corum, I know that they've got Kyron Williams, but they picked Corum early in this draft.
Yep.
And he's very good. And they're already saying Kyron Williams is going to be the punt returner.
Uh-huh.
Now, Kyron Williams was great last year.
Uh-huh.
But Blake Corum is somebody that is going to be on a lot of my rosters. Chase Brown is another one, just because of the upside. You're not drafting them to be starters, but because of the upside, I think it makes, obviously, a great deal of sense there. Wide receivers, the superstars. I'll go in kind of that second tier. I think Drake London with Kirk Cousins is going to be very, very good. Chris Olave, I like him a lot. I think he's going to be very, very good. DJ Moore, Jalen Waddle, Pittman. For some reason, I really like DJ Moore. I think that even though they've got Keenan and Rome Odunze, I still think he's the lead dog there. Terry McLaurin now going back. I think he's kind of he could get 10, 12, 15 targets a game.
Yeah, yeah.
Of the Kansas City guys, I do like Rashee Rice. I think he's a pretty good player. I off the field stuff aside.
Late flyer on Worthy.
Late flyer on Xavier Worthy.
I think he could get.
Late flyer guys, Jamison Williams, Ladd McConkey. You know who's been?
Oh, I like him a lot. I just thought someone was raving about him.
He is. I think he's going to be very good down there.
Yeah.
I think he's going to end up being Herbert's favorite target.
Yeah.
The guy, another
That's
one.
it. The guy. I was like, give me one guy on the Chargers. He's like, it's going to be McConkey.
Brian Thomas down in Jacksonville, their first-round pick. I think he has a chance to be something better. And then the one guy who keeps being available late in my drafts that I'm all in on is Jackson Smith-Njigba. I think he's going to take over for Lockett this year, and I think you're talking about a star over the next couple of years. I mean, I know how high you were on him coming out, and he's a stud.
Yep.
They're going to play more 11 personnel this year. I think he has a big year. Tight ends. The tight ends, there are, again, a pretty deep position as well. I do think TJ Hawkinson, grab him late, especially in a keeper league, and hopefully get him in the second half of the season. Trey McBride, big fan. Dalton Kincaid, Kyle Pitts, Evan Ingram, Jake Ferguson in Dallas, big fan. And then I think Tyler Conklin has an opportunity to be a real sleeper for you. Think about the fact that Jets could have drafted Brock Bowers. They did not. Aaron Rodgers, with everybody's worried about those receivers. I mean, there's going to be, I think he's going to be kind of that safety blanket. I think Conklin could have a nice season kind of late for you there. So there are some guys that I like in these drafts, especially kind of relative to their ADP.
Very good stuff. I took notes. Gibby wants to do a little around college football. It starts tonight. A lot of fun games tonight. You got Deion Sanders and Colorado. His son Shedeur signed a Nike deal. So there's some synergy there. His dad with Nike out of college, and so he signs a Nike deal in college to be a Nike athlete. They play North Dakota State tonight. This is not old NDSU like Carson Wentz, Trey Lance, NDSU. They're not even the best Dakotas. South Dakota's won the last two FCS national titles, so I would imagine they'll be more than fine. They have on defense 16 of their 22 in the two deep are transfers who got there this year. Offensively, 14 of the 22 in the two deep are transfers who got there this year. So it's a brand new team again. He got 50-some transfers on the roster. It's untenable. He's going to be there this year, and then he's done. Everybody knows it.
I love Feinbaum going after him daily.
I have Paul on today, and he had a lot of fun.
What's he go after him for? Just the fact that what he's building is a sham?
Absurd. Well, it's a house of cards.
Yeah.
It's nonsense. But it's not a sham for him. He's being compensated well. His kids are being compensated well. They're stars in a Big 12 school, but they're going to go 4-8.
They will be irrelevant by October.
Yeah, but look, they get 10 million people watch them play Colorado State last year at 10 o'clock at night on a Saturday in September.
It was a great game.
It's a great game, and it was a rating. He is a draw. So
Hunter's going to be a first-round pick, isn't he?
Travis Hunter could be in the top 10. Shedeur could be in the top 10. They both could.
Really?
Yeah. I just don't know with Hunter. Like you remember the Buckeye Chris Gamble?
Yeah,
a little bit of that, or Champ Bailey. Like he's that type of athlete. But then what do you do with them when they get to the pros? Like Champ, it worked.
Yes.
Chris,
not as much.
Not as much.
Yeah.
So because he does both. So that's kind of the interesting.
He also
thing on
seems
that.
to get hurt.
Well, he's playing both ways in major college football. So he's their number one receiver, and he's their best corner.
Yeah.
It's crazy. You just can't really do it anymore on that side of it. North Carolina plays Minnesota at 8 o'clock, too, so that's kind of a fun game for the football junkies out there, but a full slate of college games tonight.
Frederico.
Yeah.
There you go. We found it,
yeah. Go Carolina Blues, easy to root for. All right, Gibby, go ahead. Well, you can ask, and I'll answer these.
That's fine. How many Big Ten teams make the college football playoff?
4, Ohio State, Penn State, Oregon, and Iowa.
Ooh.
No Big Blue.
No USC.
I think USC is going to get punched in the mouth a lot.
Is that guy getting fired then at the end of the year?
No, I just think it's a bigger build than they think. And I just think physically them playing like at Iowa in November.
It's not ideal.
I just don't think that they're built for it.
Yeah.
They're just not built for the Big Ten. It's going to take them a couple years to get built for the Big Ten. I think Michigan's going to be really good, but they have to play Texas in week 2. They got to play USC. They got to play Oregon. They got to play Ohio State. Like Michigan's schedule last year,
they have a good defense.
They're unbelievable defense. Last year, their schedule was as easy as pie. This year, opposite. So I just think they'll just accrue too many losses.
All right, so we talked about the top of the Big Ten. Who's the worst team in the Big Ten?
Purdue.
Rutgers.
Rutgers actually could be a 9-win team.
Be good.
Yeah.
Maryland.
They got a pro running back. Maryland's not much. I think it's Purdue, Indiana are the two worst. The two Indiana.
Great state of
Good for
Indiana.
Rutgers. Rutgers has
Get
put
ready
a lot
for
of people in the
basketball.
league.
Greg Schiano went back there. He had all the success years ago.
McCourty's.
He's back there. Ray Rice, McCourty's, like all those cats. He's back there. He's kind of batting down the hatches on the New Jersey. He can recruit in the top 25 in the country, which is like you're never going to be the best thing that ever happened to Rutgers is the worst thing that ever happened to Iowa and Minnesota. They got rid of the divisions. So now Rutgers doesn't have to play Ohio State. They don't have to play Michigan. They don't have to play Penn State every year. They get to balance it out. Conversely, the Big Ten West now is balanced, and they don't have an easy path to the championship game. So that's part of it.
I think we just mentioned it. Deion Sanders in Colorado, pretender.
Yeah.
Best conference after the SEC and the Big Ten.
Big 12.
ACC. Because I think Miami's going to be pretty good with Cam Ward, the transfer from Washington State. I think Clemson will bounce back. Florida State had a bad opener, but I think they'll be okay.
Clemson, Georgia Saturday?
Clemson, Georgia Saturday.
That's a big one.
Who's the best in the Big 12?
Not Arizona.
Kansas?
Utah.
Probably
Utah. Cam Rising's in his 6th year there. The two Kansas schools are okay, Kansas State and Kansas. Arizona's quarterback and receiver stayed. Those guys you had fun with, and when Fish went to Washington, those guys stayed at Arizona. But I don't know, it's still a lot. I think the Big 12 is maybe better 1 to 18. And there's 18 teams in the Big 12.
Than the ACC.
The ACC has 17 teams, and the ACC's bottom is probably worse, but I think the ACC's top is better.
So if they played 1 versus 1 all the way down, Big 12 would win more games, but they would lose the top.
I think the simplest way, I think the ACC might get 2 teams in the playoff. I think the Big 12 is only ever getting 1 in the playoff.
Is Oklahoma State still Big 12? Texas Tech?
Yep.
Baylor?
Yep.
And those teams are not good?
I don't even know if I could name them all. TCU, Baylor, Oak State.
Oklahoma State's typically been a pretty good football program.
Texas Tech, Texas Tech, Kansas State, Cincinnati, West Virginia, UCF, USF, Utah, Arizona, Colorado, Arizona State.
Yeah, Arizona State.
Who am I missing? Not them. They're in the SMU's in the ACC with Cal and Stanford because that makes sense. Cincinnati. Did I mention Cincinnati?
I don't think so.
Cincinnati.
No. So this has. I'm looking at the current top 25 right now.
Gerard's calling Cincinnati.
Current top 25. Florida State is 10, which is the top for.
The top 9 are all Big Ten, SEC, and Notre Dame.
Yep.
And then it's Florida State, Clemson, and
Utah's actually 12, Clemson 14, Oklahoma State 17, Kansas State 18.
Yeah. But
Arizona 21, Kansas 22.
But none of those teams.
No. NC
Miami
State,
would be
NC State
ranked.
ACC?
Miami's ranked.
Yeah. Miami's
NC State's
19,
ranked.
and NC State's 24.
Yeah. So
Clemson is 14.
Yeah.
So it would actually be
the top of the ACC. There are teams that could, like Clemson still has decent talent. Miami's got decent talent. So yeah. I would take the ACC, but I think it's
okay.
It's a deep drop. Like the SEC and the Big Ten are going to have 4 teams
at
least. One of them could have 5. You have to have one group of 5. You have to have an ACC, and you have to have a Big 12. So you have 3. So that's 9 spots for an at-large, and for sure there's going to be 4 SEC and 4 Big 10 in the playoff.
To win the national championship, are you taking the SEC or the field?
You're basically saying, are you taking the SEC or the Big 10? Is what you're saying, because the national champion is not going to come from one of
anywhere else.
Nowhere else. No, nobody else. The amount of depth of talent that you have to play 16 or 17 games in college football, it's NFL depth of talent, and there just aren't enough programs that can do it. So I actually think while people think the 12-team playoff is going to make it more teams can win the national title, I actually think it's the same or less because there aren't that many programs that have that depth of talent. I would take SEC over the Big Ten, but it's really close because I think from a top-level talent standpoint, Georgia has it, Texas has it. In the SEC, Georgia, Texas, Alabama still has it. Those 3 for sure. A lot of people like Ole Miss a lot. It's a lot of transfers. Their whole operation's built on transfers. So Ole Miss will be interesting. LSU's knocking at the door. Oklahoma could be better than people think. Missouri's decent. So they've got but they really, I think, only have 3 teams who could win a national title: Texas, Georgia, and
but you would
who am I missing? Alabama.
You're going to take Ohio State
and
those 3 before you take another. Even think about a Big Ten team.
I'm going to take Ohio State and Oregon as the only teams in the Big Ten who can win a national title.
Interesting. Okay.
Only those 2 that have the depth. Whereas I think the SEC has. I think it'll be one of those 5 teams. So if you can I have Ohio State, Oregon, Bama, Georgia, and Texas? You can have the field.
Yeah.
I mean that's. But my point is, you can't do that in the NFL.
No.
You wouldn't do that. You wouldn't do that in the NFL. But in college football, and honestly, if I gave you Ohio State, if I gave you Georgia and Ohio State, I might consider giving you the field. Give me the Buckeyes and Georgia, you can have the field. I think you'd almost do that.
Yeah.
And I think the only people close are Alabama, Texas, and Oregon, talent-wise.
All right. It's a little look at college football. Enjoy the weekend of college football.
Buckeyes getting Akron at 3:30 down there.
Is it up to 48?
It was 50 earlier in the week.
I mean, you're getting paid.
Those are outrageous.
1.8.
That's bigger than I thought.
They're paying I think 1.6 or 1.8 to Akron, and then it's a 1.8 to Western Michigan and a 1.8 to Marshall to be sacrificial lambs.
I would tell you plenty of good seats available, but I don't know with everybody coming back this weekend.
I think it'll be pretty full. I think it'll be full
My kid's
for the
going.
opener.
80's going.
God bless.
Go.
Yeah, God bless. It'll be a bludgeoning. To cover 50, it's got to be 49-0 at half. But here's the thing to remember if you're doing this, especially with Ohio State this first month. Obviously, a lot of Buckeyes listen to. Ryan Day has to play depth for 2 reasons. One, he has to develop it in case people get hurt, but he also has to play it because these kids were made promises on the recruiting trail. And you have to keep a carrot in front of them. Like their 3rd quarterback is a kid named Julian Sain, who's the #1 quarterback in the country. They have to play him. They have to have him buy in so that he doesn't try entering the portal in December.
Yeah.
So they need him. And then when he plays, he's not going to be happy just handing off. He's got to spin it. So they could bury people in a way that they haven't recently. College football's changed so much, it's crazy. They finally have headsets in the helmets. Took forever.
Duh.
Yeah, it took forever to do that.
By the way, I feel like you have to thank Connor Stallions or whatever his name is.
It was in the works. It was in the works. Yeah, 2-minute warning in college football now, which they've never had before. Lots of changes. We'll hit the mailbag coming up next. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Foundation for Student Success. The Cleveland Browns Foundation is a proud founder of the Stay in the Game Attendance Network, partnering with school districts in Northeast Ohio to dramatically improve student attendance. Visit stayinthegame.org to learn more and take action to support strong attendance. Time for the Mailbag, presented by the Cross Country Mortgage Company, your official mortgage partner of your Cleveland Browns when it comes to financing. They're always going to get you home. Visit ccm.com today. Equal housing opportunity, NMLS 3029. Hello, Gibby.
Hi, how are you?
Real well.
Oh, great. Let's see. You can tweet at the show, at Browns_daily. There we go. From Preston. It feels like there hasn't been much hype around the team all off season. How good of an impromptu promo could you cut to get the fans hyped?
I could cut the best promo, but I feel like we got to save that for next Friday.
It's Friday. I agree with you. Here's to address the hasn't been much hype, because we essentially had the same offseason as we had last year. And
Correct.
So when you have a really good roster, when your only question mark is the health of your quarterback and just seeing it play out over the course of the season, there's not much that you can do with that.
Correct.
So I just think it's a factor of where you are as a franchise and the fact that you basically had two off seasons that were kind of the same back-to-back.
From H. Snyder, Z, what did you have to eat on the Seattle trip?
I had a place called Wild Ginger, which
Okay.
is kind of like in Thai Asian fusion. I had an incredible meal, and then I had a nice steak with Mo Pedman and Coach Tarves. But that Wild Ginger place in Bellevue, I would recommend. It was incredibly. It was one of the better meals I've had in a while. And that's I like
was
that
it
kind of
sushi
food.
or Asian fusion?
So I
Okay.
had some like
that's good
pot
stuff.
stickers. I had this little like duck bao buns.
There you go.
And like a pad ki mao, which is kind of a spicy, drunken noodles, which was really something spectacular.
That sounds like a delight.
Yeah, it was a delight. In fact, it's
More from H. Schneider. As for football, who do you predict to be our starting tackles against Dallas?
DeWand and Jed Wills.
All right, then.
There you go.
There you go. Those aren't scores. That's what I think. I think Jed will be. My hunch is Jed will start practicing next week on Monday, but we'll see if that's true.
Trey Carey. Hope you enjoyed Seattle, Nate and Gibby.
We did.
I tried the $2 Jello shots at the Goose Pub. It was amazing on every level.
You're welcome.
Beware of those.
I don't know if it was amazing.
Beware of those. What was your favorite part of the business trip?
Not the rain. And we really didn't get to take in the town like we would have liked to. That first night, we had a blast. I mean, that was great hanging out with everybody.
We did.
And we had a great time.
You guys seem kind of a bit like in old school when Vince Vaughn says to Frank, I think everybody knows that you had a good time, Frank.
Yeah, we did.
That's
have a good
kind of
time.
was you guys that Friday from your hotel room.
On the darts. Pow.
Just getting it done.
Absolutely.
Love a dog today. Tweets at the show, at Browns_daily. In honor of the holiday weekend libations, your favorite ice cube configuration. Classic, crushed, large cube, Sonic ice, or something else?
Entirely depends on the cocktail.
Totally. I'll say this. I like an ice ball #1 or a sphere or a big cube if I'm having just something straight. If we're getting a little bit more into a mixed world, I love, and I'll even get real specific on it, that crushed ice that you get in those, whatever they call the drinks in Baltimore. You know what I'm talking about? They have like a certain way they do cocktails in Baltimore.
You talking about like the Sonic ice, like the chewy crushed ice?
It's
or are you
kinda
talking
chewy
about like
crushed
the
ice. It's
the
similar
stuff
to
that's
that.
like shaved ice?
No, it's kind of like chewy crushed, but it's a combination of Baltimore.
I didn't know Baltimore had their own ice.
I was not aware of this either. We're
What
not
drink is
going to the same
Baltimore known
places
for?
in Baltimore.
The
clearly.
Orange Crush. But it's something. It's the ice there. I'm gonna figure this out.
So, I'm a Big Rock.
Yeah.
In a Manhattan old fashioned, straight, all of that. I'm one Big Rock guy. I am a crushed if I'm doing some sort of a cocktail. I will do, sometimes I'll put a little ice in a red beer, a bloody beer, or I will do the Colt McCoy, which is the If it's a hot day, like on a Saturday, and I'm watching some college football, I will do crushed ice into the beer with heavy lime squeeze. Like I'll do that.
Yep.
So I run those things out from time to time.
It's going to be an interesting weather weekend.
What are we in for?
Looks like rain and storms Saturday all day.
Ugh.
Or at least in the morning.
Jeez, really?
It's all right. They're called Baltimore Crushes. And it is vodka, like a Sprite typically, some type of a flavor, and that ice, though. But the ice is what makes
triple
it.
sec?
The ice makes it so good.
Then top with lemon lime soda.
Yeah.
Seems kind of refreshing.
It's at all the, like, this is it. Mama's on the half shell. That's where you need to be.
Okay. Oh, my God. 80% chance of rain Saturday.
It's not great.
Sheesh.
And then, like, tomorrow it's like 90.
92
It's going to be a
with
little
thunderstorms
humid
later.
and
Good
kind of
Lord.
miserable.
And next week's kind of all over the place, too. Like
Yeah,
some
Saturday
70s
or
and-
Sunday, then it's supposed to be decent, but, like, I don't know if it's going to – I don't know.
Interesting.
Not great.
No.
More from Love a Dog today. Bo, excited for the Buckeye season. What's your vibe on Jeremiah Smith, Marv 2.0, Caleb Downs, Will Howard?
Jeremiah Smith is he is the most impressive freshman I've seen down there since Chase Young. Just physical. He looks like a pro. Like he's built like Andre Johnson. So he looks like a professional receiver. The fact that he is starting as a true freshman at Ohio State at an offensive skill position, the last one that I can think of that did it was Maurice Claret.
Okay.
And there's been some guys who did it because of injury, like J.K. Dobbins ended up having to do so because of injury. But, like, you got to go back to Maurice to find somebody who started as a true freshman. I really think he could have that type of impact on them. He basically went head-to-head with Denzel Burke, who's going to be a first-round pick at corner in the draft, and it was kind of a draw in camp, and he's 18 years old. He also won a thing they call the Iron Buckeye, which is something they give for people who exceed and excel in the weight room, and usually it's upperclassmen that win it, and he won it right away. So he is a dude. Caleb Downs was the best defensive player in the back end of a defense in the Southeastern Conference last year as a true freshman. He was the best defensive player at Alabama last year, and he is now at Ohio State. So he real good. Will Howard is my thing for him is if he can be JT Barrett's senior year. So that's 65, 66% completions, 3,500 yards, 35 touchdowns, 8 picks. Another 350 on the ground with 7 or 8 touchdowns. If he does that, then they win the national title. All of those stats, by the way, are through 12 games because they're going to play 16 or 17, so it'll be a little skewed.
Final one today, Zane Brown. What are your plans for Vegas? Nothing. We're not allowed to go anywhere or do anything.
People don't realize that now you're going to be in a great spot. I'm guessing you're going to be at that Lake Las Vegas place, right, where the Niners stayed at the Super Bowl? Would be my guess.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Oh, really? You know where you're near the Strip, though. They take you like to Mesquite. Then you could play.
Oh,
you
man.
play Wolf
if we were
Creek.
there, I'd play Wolf Creek.
You could go do that.
For sure.
You guys should do that if you go out. If you get an extra day. If you guys go out there Friday, you could go Saturday and go play Wolf Creek.
Yeah.
So what is it? An hour
How
and a half?
far is it?
It's not even an hour and a half.
Yeah, you should do it.
It's like the Autobahn once you get outside of Vegas.
It's just desert.
Yeah.
You should, I piqued his interest on that. Now he's humming. Now the synapses are firing.
Been there.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Well, I know you have. You sent pictures from there. Like that place looks like a video game.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to go.
Yeah.
You should do that if you get out there enough time. All right, good stuff. So
That's
much more to
today's
come.
Mailbag.
Good job at you, Gibby. So much more to come. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Special edition of Browns Daily coming tomorrow, featuring our Dogs Only Player podcast. So,
yeah, it's going to be pretty sweet.
That's very cool. Look forward to that. And then we're back. We're back, and
Tuesday.
we're in a game week. Tuesday in a game week, kids. It's going to be nuts out there. Enjoy your high school football tomorrow night, your college football on Saturday. Enjoy your holiday weekends.
The air
be
show.
Safe. Air
Shout
show.
out.
Yeah. The air shows. If you're on the fence, don't be.
Go.
Yeah. It's spectacular. We are back live on Tuesday of a game week. My God. Here we go, kids. Buckle up.
It's happening, baby.
It is.
Finally. Finally.
We're here.
The season has come back to Cleveland.
Let's go. Next level
Let's
coming
go.
up next. Enjoy your weekend. Cleveland Runs Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland.